Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to a special edition of the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, coming to you here from the North Park building in Seneca Falls. We were off on Monday due to some travel, and then we had all sorts of dominoes falling off and on through the course of the day today to get the 31st lap and then subsequently, the final round podcast, and subsequently the 31st lap in order. The plus side is all that stuff is now set for next week, but it gave us the opportunity as those things took their course to get this week's edition of Crash Course on the air. So number 239 coming to you, and it worked out well to come late this week because we've got the Shenandoah County Fair coming up Monday and Tuesday next week, which is being overseen by Jason and Penny Shipe with JPG Towing. They, of course, are from the Cass in the Valley fame, which is also coming up rapidly. Everybody is looking forward to that one for sure. Jason and Penny do this show for the fairgrounds. It's a fair promoted show, so to say. They come in and oversee this one, and then they have their own standalone events, which are done as benefits for the Tomsbrook Volunteer Fire Department, both in the spring, back in April we were down there, and in the fall. And this year that date falls on October the 20th. Jason, for a long time, ran at the Shenandoah County Fairgrounds as a competitor, and then got into the promoting thing, and eventually they were brought in, replacing Nationwide. And they had a couple of different rules down there in different iterations. Some of the stuff we've seen up here as well. They used to have limitations on Mondays and Tuesdays. Monday was for county residents only. Tuesday was open up for everybody. They struggled a little bit with getting their purses up to where they needed to be. Stock wasn't quite stock, and some of the cars were coming in were pretty heavy built. With some of the changes they've implemented the last couple of years with running a mod night and a stock night, it's helped that. Mark Wolfe was waiting in the wings to talk a little bit about what they've done for this year, what the fair is going to offer on Monday and Tuesday down there in Woodstock, and some of the stuff that's upcoming as well for Cass in the Valley number 9. This is the 9th Cass in the Valley in October, Cass in the Valley event overall. 9th one falling in October. It's their 5th year doing it, so they're numbering their events kind of like what UFC does. So without any further delay, Mark Wolfe joining us. He's got a special hot rod that he's been working on just for this so that he can take part in the events coming up on Tuesday. Going to take Monday off and let the dust settle as it does. Mark, how are you?
Good, how are you?
We're doing just fine. So I know you've been in contact with Penny a little bit about what's happening down there this year. What are we looking at for Monday, and what are we looking at for Tuesday?
I believe the same format as last year. Monday night will be the classes, and they'll have their finale with the stock full-size cars, and Tuesday is the welded cars. I hope so. That's why I'm showing up Tuesday.
Well, you could just bring it Monday and see if you pass.
Yeah. We were talking a little bit ago about when Jason Shipe used to run there. Funny story for you. I remember one time he pulled in, he came to Tech, and he's standing there. You got that look on his face like every driver does when they got away with something. And I walked over and I was asking him, I was like, "What's that look for?" And he was like, "How do you like my ride height on the front of my car?" And I said, "That's pretty good." He said, "Check it out." So I looked down. I was expecting to, see some manual bump stops with A-arms well down or something. He had actually taken big logs for firewood. He had beat him with a sledgehammer in between his upper and lower A-arms. That pretty much summarizes Shipe. He always went out and hit runs, and he would drive wide open. He might be in there 3 minutes, he might be in there about 5 minutes, but I can guarantee you from start to finish, that gas pedal never came off the floor. There was a lot of heart. So it was always fun when he ran. He does put a very good show on, and I think they're fair and consistent. And I've even asked them before to come over and look at cars and stuff, and they're like, nope. They're like, we treat every driver the same. Doesn't matter. We know you. If you bring a car to the rules, you'll pass. If you don't, we'll tell you what you got to do. If you don't like it, you have to take it home. But we wouldn't be fair to you to look at your car and pick it apart, and it would be for other drivers to have an opportunity for you to look for advantage starting out. So, a bunch of good guys put a really good show on, very fair, and I think they're very unbiased and not impartial to anyone.
How important is that to you down there, and how important is it, more than that, to the Derby community down there in that part of Virginia? Really good builders, resourceful builders, not a lot of the outside parts coming in. All that stuff's all manufactured at home, and you guys have come to a point where you're fabricators and you take care of yourselves. But at the same time, we've had a bit of a history now in the Shenandoah Valley. There's a number of derbies up and down through there where the common theme is inconsistency in tech inspection, playing favorites, and things along those lines that have driven a number of drivers out leading up to, say, maybe 2012, 2013, somewhere in there. And things began to change at that point. Now we've got some really consistent inspectors. We've got some really good promoters down there. There's a couple that are always right in and around Shenandoah County that are down the road a little bit that the clients have gone and run at, that Billy Orndorff has gone and run at, that you've gone down and run at. What does this mean for the community and for you in terms of your confidence in going into a show, not simply just as your ability to win or not win, but your confidence in terms of getting a fair shake?
I think it's important. They're definitely more consistent in the old days. Not going to mention names of one of the mainstream promoters from Ohio. Used to come down here a lot, and they still do sometimes, and a bunch of good guys and everything, but you never really knew what you could do and what you couldn't.
Right.
So you always push the limits. I remember cutting my rules up to make templates for steel plates before, and thinking that was cute. But I remember one time I had my wife's car. I took it through test 4 or 5 times in a row, and it was one of the days when they decided they was looking at the rules, and we went back and forth, and they was very upset, and they was telling me, they said, we've been too nice to you in the past, and things like that. And by the time I got done, I had all the skin burned off my arm from torching over and over and over.
Right.
Eventually, I got a flag on the car. I took it up to stage it. I went back and got my car, and I pulled back up the stage, and they looked up, and they rolled their eyes, and they said, what? And I said, well, if you didn't like that one, you really ain't going to like this one.
That was when she had the purple card, and you had the hot tuna card, right?
Yes, it was, yes, yep.
Yeah. That was, I think, trying to remember. I think that was like 2014 when all that played out. But I do remember all the trips you had to go through tech, and then, after you finally got through, you had to bring your car through, which had even more stuff done to it, and it led to that. I'm blanking. Luray is the one that I was thinking of. They've had some promoter change down there as well, and that show's really improved.
Yes, yep. Even this year, that same promoter stood up some shows around here. I think one of the top builders in the area last year got turned away a couple times for cars, and they was probably built a little beyond the rules and everything, and it cost them animosity, but they ended up leaving, and the promoter told us, he said, sometime in the past the car probably bent there, and they was trying to make it stronger, but we got to stick to the rules. We're not the same company we used to be. So I was just at Derby a couple weeks ago, and I seen them bring cars, and this year they followed the rules, and this year anything went. So they was running against cars that was way harder. So it's definitely a crapshoot. So it's nice having chaos, because I think they're pretty fair people as far as inspecting, and even though it doesn't matter if they know you're not, they're going to treat you the same.
Sure. I've heard a lot of good things about Luray, and that story. It traveled fast about those guys getting loaded last year, and I think it helped Luray as a whole, and Country Boy, I think, is who's promoting down there. He's at least working with that group, and I think that helped them a lot. Loading those guys, even if it's just for the, I hate for it to be for the optics, but for that visual of whether it's something minor or whether it's something severe. If it's outside the rules that couldn't be fixed on the grounds, they weren't allowed to slip by, and the car was loaded. That sends a good message to everybody that group's treating them fair, just like you got it with the JPG crew and the Toms Brook crew over there at Shenandoah County in Woodstock. It sends a message, and you can probably pick up a few cars by that happening, because they know that everybody's being treated fairly and there is no favors being played.
Yes, that's true.
So tell me a little bit about your car. Obviously, it's not going to run on stock night, which is Monday, part of the Shenandoah County Fair. You're going to be running on the modified night. They've gotten rid of the county residency rules, right? Anybody can come any night. Yeah. Because at one point, at one point.
Run, any night, anybody can run from any area.
Yeah.
It's not much the fair, but as far as the fall chaos show, start seeing more and more out-of-staters coming in, which is cool. It's really fun to battle against some of these hard guys. The Ohio, Pennsylvania boys, they got some really nice cars, and they definitely can make an impact when they come in.
Just running down quickly the list of winners for the fall chaos show. This is the 5th one. The first 2 were won by Jason Koch of West Virginia. The 3rd one was won by David Klein. The 4th one was won by Brian Schumann out of Ohio, and the 4th one was won by Josh Corletto out of Pennsylvania. So there's 4 states in 5 years right there, just for their fall edition too. So I mean, it's tough for the locals to win that show, but at the same time, it's got to be nice to bang around with guys that you see about on the internet, you read about in the Facebook posts and stuff like that. Now they're right there in your backyard, and you get to see how your builds compare.
Yeah, it's awesome. I've actually made some friends. Brian Schumann, I knew him from clear back. We actually went down and ran. They had the Buckeye Bash back the IDDA Derby. They had 2 derbies back in the 04, 05, 06 range, somewhere in there. And I was lucky enough, I was fortunate to get to run Gary Moreland's car down there at the second Buckeye Bash. I ran against Brian Schumann. He actually came on top that night. He said he came in with an empty pocketbook and he left with $10,000 in his pocket. So,
not a bad night.
I met him, that was pretty neat, yeah.
The stock night.
Actually down here for a while.
Yeah. I think I remember that story. I think I remember that story, that he broke into that part of Virginia for a little while when King's Derby was really rolling for a while, and then he sort of scaled it back a little bit. It's good to see him still getting into cars too. I mean, he's a good guy, and he's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, he's definitely fun. We picked one time. He's getting old now, but he's still got a really tough car. Usually always keeps something nice. So I was up there one time, and we went to his place for one of his shows. We just got there and hung out, and he actually graciously let us stay in his old house that he had moved out of. He bought a new place, and he let us all go up there with shikes and all a bunch of motorcycles up, and instead we went up to his house. They was having a bonfire and stuff, and he pulled a stripper car out. He had a Honda, and the top had been cut off, and it had a deck built on top of a stripper pole in the middle. It had a big sound system and everything. One place where you slide down and drive it. So I just seen last night on Facebook they had a big field party up there and had races and stuff. And they said got this morning the school bus was blowed up, and there was 3 or 4 cars upside down, balloon motors and things like that. So they definitely still get down up there hard and Ohio.
Your car is a tilted Ford, right?
Yeah, it's kind of neat. My car's been around too, so I went over with a friend Danny Manning one day up to Pennsylvania. We was up at a truck bed, and we came back, and a friend of mine, Blake Lonis, had got in touch with Klinger, and he bought that car along the road in the middle of the night. So we brought it back and disappeared for a year or so, and Blake and a lot of people in the Valley actually did a lot of the work on that car. He had a lot of friends helping him and stuff like that. And then I ended up buying the car because nothing wrong with I don't mind picking it up and save myself a little work either. So this car was a little different. I actually had the unbuilt part of it because just to try to get it into the range of the rules. But it started out like a 4-window Lincoln, and then I had a 03 a newer frame conversion down the front. This is built back the first year when they went to the leaf spring rule in the front. So it's got a 68 Imperial sub sunk in between the frame rails on the hydroformed big frame, and then it's the story I got. The leaf springs in the front came out of a 65-foot ladder truck, and they was restacked, flat stacked, and everything.
Right.
So I actually had to do more things like it had like a 3-foot I-beam behind the seat. I take some of that out, change the seat, and fit it to the car, do some things around, and unbuild some stuff. I'll take some stuff off of it. even with that being said, it always amazes me. I'm sure every driver out there has done this before. They've had a car ready for a derby, didn't get to run for some reason, and you can bring it home and need another 100 hours work before you're ready to run it, even though
Right.
that day.
Right.
That being said,
So this shell was a Mike Klinger car, and I just want to make sure everybody caught what he said. This is a leaf conversion, but it's got the leaf springs in the front, so you've got basically a straight axle setup like off an old pickup truck on the front of that, correct?
yes, yeah.
And the leaf springs that are on it were off of a 65-foot ladder truck, like a fire truck.
That was a story I got, yeah, and they would reach back. I know one of my friends and Blake's friend, Jimmy Wren, they said they had some the pieces of metal set up, and they burned up 2 brand new impacts, and they was hiding behind them because there was so much tension on them leaf springs in the building. They just said it was insane. It's probably I have to say this. I've seen a lot of built cars and
Right.
things, but this thing it definitely exercises geometry. I mean, the frame rails are perfectly level, so you don't have any leverage on the frame up or down, and probably one of the most radical tips I ever seen. I know I'm probably going to be aiming for roof signs. It's really hard to see over the front end.
Yeah, it's exceptionally tall. What's if you don't mind saying, what is the pitch on it between the body and the frame?
It's pitched back right near the cross number. I don't know the actual measure. I wasn't even around when they built most of this car.
Right. How put it this way, in the core support, how tall are the spacers between the bottom of the core support and the top of the frame?
They're good 2.5 feet at least, I would say.
I hope everybody heard that. 2.5-foot spacers between the frame and the bottom of the core support, and it's leaf-sprung front end with an Imperial subframe stuffed up in it. This is running the mod class at the Shenandoah County Fair. You're going to see this in action as well in the fall at Chaos in the Valley, the 9th edition of Chaos in the Valley, the 5th year for them, celebrating 5 years. JPG Towing and Thomasville Volunteer Fire Department. It's going to be one for the ages. Then this is probably the last car you're ever going to have to build because it's never going to bend, right? You're just going to drive it till you're bored of it?
I've seen cars before that would never bend, and there's some tough cars, and there's some guys out there. Absolutely, my last pro mod car, I had the one Pure Hell, that was an 03 newer, and that same boy built that one, and I had some trouble keeping wheels on it and things like that.
Right.
It finally bent after, I think, 3 seasons of running it, but it was definitely a fun car.
Right, but that one bent funny because you lost the right front wheel on it and somebody cleared the right front corner and all the pressure on it went the other way and it bent the right side rails down, right?
Actually, the frame isn't too bad. It came straight back a little bit. And
Oh, it did? I thought it dumped.
trouble with the steering, getting the cross member. Actually, the guy that owns that car now, he's planning on cutting the front frame sub out and putting it underneath another one. That frame front sub came out of a different car before it went in that one.
Wow. So that's crazy. So it's going into its third car. That's impressive.
Yeah, our folks had that back in the original one, black and drab green 03 newer he was running.
Okay, sure. I love this tonight. I mean, you're pulling out all these old names. Obviously we know Mike Klinger, but Blake Lonis is a name that I haven't come across for a little while. Danny Manning and his family won tons of derbies down there at the Shenandoah County Fairgrounds back when they were drawing 200 cars on county night and then 250 cars on out of county night.
Yeah, Danny's actually working on a stock car for the Chaos. He's going to bring one back out. He's had a lot of things going on. Hasn't got to run a lot, but I'm seeing a lot of people back here go back to the stock builds too.
Right. Well, I mean that's been a general trend everywhere. I mean that's 2 general things that you can loosely apply to demolition derby from California to Massachusetts, as far north as the most northern derby that you can find. Is that all the derbies that used to be at the county level used to have 150 cars, and now they're down to 50 to 60. And the general trend is away from the heavy stuff and getting back into stock, chain and go, wire class, whatever you care to call it. But it's all in that same idea of that purist type derby, the way that it used to be, where cars are twisted. You're getting one run out of a car, and that also pairs nicely with all the 80s and newer transition where you've got the box Lincolns, the box Fords. Some of the guys have begun to figure out some of the metric GM stuff, especially the 90s Roadmasters and the Buicks. And then you've got the 98 to 02 and the 03 and up 4s that are holding their own in the stock classes as well. It's not the same optics of those giant land yachts and the Chryslers and the full-size GMs and stuff and the roundbacks that you saw back in the 80s and 90s, but you've still got cars that can hold their own at a stock level, and they're twisted up at the end of the night. They look cool when they're done.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference in the cars between the classes. I know just a couple weeks ago here we went down to Winchester to run, and I took a 80 metric full-size GM wagon, and they have a stock class and a mod class, and Jason Scheifele's got his bash kicker car he brought down, and Matthew Kingery, he's got a bash kicker car. It's been all over the valley this summer.
Right.
And they were the only two mod cars that showed up, so I was doing the math, and I was like, well, I got 1 in 22 odds in the stock class, or 1 in 3 odds in the mod class. They was paying in the third place, so I stuck my stock wagon in the mod class.
Right.
Couldn't do worse than third place, and ended up second. Actually, Jason just had a little bit of scribbler trouble.
No.
Yeah, but I found myself in a position where my bumper was off. I had no steering, so all I could do was go nose to nose with Matthew's car. And actually, Chris Campbell, who he's one of the flag people for Chaos in the Bell, he got a back in the car for the first time.
Oh, cool.
Yes, it was so cool because we out there, 3 of us, all friends, and we tore them up. But at the end, I looked at my car and I was like, wow. I was like, that's just amazing to see a car that destroyed. I had a ball. It was fun.
Well, that's good though. I mean, that was why you bought it, right? Was to get it wasted.
That's right.
The motor out of this was we were talking about the names from the past. Donald Blevins. We remember Donald Blevins in that awesome showdown that he had with Klinger a couple years back at Rumble at the Rock in Rockingham County Fairgrounds. This was going back maybe 2014, 2015, something like that, where Klinger kept backing up and came out of the shadows and hit Donald hard enough to where it shook the whole car. Basically picked up and threw Donald's Crown Vic. Donald had another couple good runs at the fairgrounds. He's since retired, and now you've got his motor between the rails of your front end leaf sprung imp subbed 03 and newer Crown Vic for the mod class at Shenandoah County Fair.
Yes, he was selling some stuff out, and he had just built that engine. He had it wrapped up in an M1 and everything, and I actually had a 16-to-1 compression motor that we had put together years ago, and we finally asked a little bit too much of it. I mean, we start quarter powering these motors back in the frame rail and put a lot of tension on them.
Yep.
Something's got to give. I've noticed the new protectors now, a lot of them don't even bolt to the motor. They just cradle the motor like the name says. But I came out of the one show in Pure Hell. I had sheared off all the bolts in the side pad mounts for the cradle, and then had a couple gaping holes. It still ran well, but it was hard to keep oil and water in it.
Yeah, it does.
I moved on and found an engine already ready to go and stuck that in.
The one hole in the block on that was big enough to put your hand in, wasn't it?
You could probably got 4 fingers in it.
Yeah, it was a good size hole. That reminds me of your boat tail Riviera with the pressure treated lumber and lawnmower blade battery box. Did you upgrade your battery boxes since then?
No, this car already had a battery box welded up on the
Yeah.
dashboard, so I didn't have to make one. But I always like those. There's always been a few things that are not mainstream but have worked well, like light switches. Back in the early days of Derby, when I started 20 years ago, you go down to AutoZone, you buy some light switches. Some electrical switches, and it's junk. Everybody's had switches. I've seen a lot of people just tie the wires and stuff. And so we moved to using the house switches. I mean, you get them for like 69 cents, and I've never broke one in 20 years. So does it look a little strange? Yeah. Does it work? If something don't break, I don't see. I know a lot of people buy the guard motors and the Baldwins and the coilers and things like that, and awesome products. But when my wheels are breaking off all the time, I don't see where I need to invest in a motor. So I always try to stick with what works well, and then just focus on the problem areas. And there's a few things like that, and the wooden battery boxes, we come up with that. I don't remember if that was my idea or something we had seen somewhere else, but We just link and log them around the battery, and then always place them in the car sideways so that the ass and the water, slosh it between the plates, not taking as much impact as they would with the front and back kits, and always put the positive cable to the inside so that if your door is laid over, you're less likely to drown the battery out. And they work pretty good. You use a lawnmower blade for a washer on the bottom. Never pulled one into a rusty floor pan, but had some old iron GMs. They've tried.
Do you care if I put a picture of your car up? I accidentally did a second ago, but I got it down.
That'd be fine.
Cool. I want everybody to be able to see.
The paint on Saturday. It'll be up anyway, so it's no biggie.
There's a good look at that car right there, as we talked about. That's it's a box Ford with an 03 and newer frame conversion on it, with an Imperial 68 Imperial subframe stuffed up inside the rails on a straight front axle. And you can just see behind that small right front wheel the back of that leaf spring, because it is leaf sprung in the front, and that's going in the mod class at the Shenandoah County Fair coming up on Tuesday. Stock night is Monday. Is that a 5 o'clock start time for those? 5 o'clock for the fall. 7 o'clock start time for the fair?
I am not sure. I'm just going to make sure I'm there in time for tech.
There you go. That's all you got to worry about, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's it's going to be a good one. It always is down there. And then compacts, of course, in the fall. Those sort of dominate the landscape. The compacts running heats and features, which is always a good time. The modified cars, typically they run one and done. They don't draw enough to make it worth doing heats and features. And they're so hard. Doing heats and features is just going to come down to, basically, with people trying to qualify, to fuel economy. That it seems to be much more entertaining, putting everybody out there at one time, as many as there are, and letting them go for broke, letting them battle for the money. It's been entertaining the last couple of years.
Yeah, those shapes already planning on the compact cars. Guaranteed purse. If one car shows up, there are two cars in, $5,000, $4,000 for the well class, and $3,000 for the stock. And I think he said he was paying $1,000 for the trucks and SUVs. And then I know last year everything on top of that came in went 100% back to it. Last year at that show, I was fortunate enough to get to run a compact, and I think we pulled back on the track at 1:30 in the morning. And
yeah.
Just the compact class, they paid out $15,800 in cash last year. So
yeah,
that show definitely continues to draw more and more cars in.
Sure is. The first place walked away, and I'm blanking on his name. That's the one thing that I left home. The cat that won that went from expecting to win $5,000. He took home $8,000 that night for the compacts, which was pretty good.
He was one happy camper.
You would be too, would you?
Oh yeah. And he earned it too. I tell you one thing. He was on a little Toyota. That thing. It didn't care if it had water or not. It just kept on. It might have been running on 2 or 3 cylinders, but it would not die.
It was a great show, and I'm looking forward to getting back down there in the fall. I wish you the best of luck this weekend. Is there anybody that you wanted to make mention of, or this weekend, next week? Anybody that you wanted to make mention of?
Yes, there is, actually, since you gave me the opportunity. One thing I've noticed this year that's really been inspiring to me is I've seen a lot of the drivers here local have been putting cars together and putting rookies in. A couple examples would be Sean Gookin there, and then they put a car together for a young man for his first derby. They run a couple places. Bill Orndorff put a car together, and they put a kid in it. He did really good up at Rockingham. David Klein, he's built a couple cars this year and put a couple of the next generation drivers of his family in cars at Winchester and up at Harrisonburg.
That's cool.
I thought that was really cool.
That's great. And again, you're bringing up all these heavy hitter names that I'm sure we're going to see when we get down there in the fall. First order of business for Jason and Penny Shipe, though, is to get through the Shenandoah County Fair Monday and Tuesday next week. Monday, stock night. Tuesday is the modified night. You're going to be able to see Mark Wolfe drive his car. We shared some pictures of it a minute ago on Tuesday. And then, trust me, you'll see that car back again in the fall for Chaos in the Valley. Mark, man, I appreciate you coming on the show and hanging out with us for a little while. I look forward to catching up with you in October.
Yeah, can't wait to see you guys. You're always fun. You come down, and thanks for letting me get around my mouth a little bit.
Well, you did a great job.
All right, buddy.
Thanks a lot. Good luck Tuesday.
Yep.
We'll see you.
Congratulations on hitting that many podcasts already.
Thank you. It means a lot. Thank you. See you later. There goes Mark Wolfe wrapping up this special Tuesday edition of the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast. Appreciate him coming on a little bit of short notice so that we could go over a few things. I just lost my screen. There it goes. And as we talked about a minute ago, Chaos in the Valley, the fall date is October the 20th, Shenandoah County Fairgrounds, Woodstock, Virginia. Showtime is 5 o'clock. Heats and features for the compacts. Likely heats and features for the stocks. They draw pretty well. One and done's for the modifieds, and SUV class is going to be one and done as well. 5,000 to win for the compacts. 5,000 to win for the compacts. 4,000 to win for the stock class. 1,000 for the SUVs, and I forgot what he said for the modifieds. We'll get Jason and Penny on in a couple weeks to talk more about it. Monster builds, as you saw what the mod cars are. Monster payouts. It all goes to benefit Townsburg Volunteer Fire Department. Online, Facebook.com, Chaos Valley. Also worth mentioning, Josh Wilkins and Cardiac Arrest Racing. They are doing the raffle car again this year at the Chaos in the Valley 2018 event, the fall show. They raffled that car off last year, and they gave an option of the car or $1,000. The guy that won the car already had a car in the feature. You can't bring a fresh car to the feature. So they gave him the $1,000, put the car in mothballs, and waited until this year. They're going to raffle it off again. Find out again more details online, facebook.com/Chaos Valley. Stern Dirt Racing up next for them. September the 8th is their next big show. West Jordan Beat down in West Jordan, Utah. $30,000 payout, 4-man team derby. 2 Imperials allowed per team. Heavy iron and farm trucks lead the way for the show in West Jordan. September the 14th is the Day of Reckoning. It's at the Utah State Fair in Salt Lake City. It's at Days of 47 Arena that they've been to a bunch of times this year. $50,000 total payout, $8,000 to win stock class. The first 24 cars to pass tech get $1,000 back, $4,000 and $2,000 respectively to the first and second place Mad Dogs online, sterndirtracing.com. Smash It has only 5 derbies left on their 2018 schedule before they get to Blizzard Bash. We'll talk about Blizzard Bash more in a moment. August the 25th, coming up this week, Dark County Fair in Greenville, Ohio, 7 o'clock start. Dark County Weld Class, Mild Weld Street Stock, 80s and newer for the street stocks. Wire Compacts, Smash It Compacts, and that's 4 and 6 cylinder only. The Smash It Compacts do allow V8s, but not at Dark County. Of Smash It Compacts, 4 and 6 cylinder only. Power wheels are at 6:30. Derby starts at 7. September the 2nd and 3rd is the Stark County Fair in Canton, Ohio. 7 o'clock start on September the 2nd, 4 o'clock start on September the 3rd. Smash It Leaf Class Compacts, full-size truck, stock wire class, and power wheels on the 2nd. Smash It Leaf Class Compacts, compact trucks, and stock wire class, along with power wheels on September the 3rd. September the 22nd is the Ashland County Fair in Ashland, Ohio. Street stock, 80s wire class, compacts, trucks, and youth class plus the power wheels in Ashland. 5 o'clock start on the 22nd. They do have their fall cleanup show in Washington Courthouse coming up in October. Spinning Wheels Productions coming up. We saw some pictures being shared about the San Filippo Smash with that relic class. Pretty cool to see some of those photos popping up in and around the internet. I saw a bunch of 57 Chevys. I know the hot rodders are going to be furious, but they should have got their money out faster to save them. September the 1st, before that though, is the GDS Fair, and that is in Newfoundland, Pennsylvania. Economy V8 class and the compact class are both paying $1,200 to win. The Bone Stock V8 class and the Bone Stock 4 and 6 cylinder class are paying $500 to win. Youth Economy Stock is paying $500 to win. The Figure 8 Economy Compact is paying $250 to win and a feature spot, since it's the same rules as that Economy Compact class. So you've got a chance, if your car survives the Figure 8 and you can drive a Derby car at the same time, of walking out of there with $1,450, which isn't too bad. Limited Weld is 100% of the entries, full-size trucks. The money's to be decided still. October the 6th, the San Filippo Smash that we talked about. More than 200 entries. Bring it, the car, and the officials will find you a heat. Anything left at the end can run for the San Filippo Cup. It's a fundraiser for MPS 3A Research. They have a goal of $50,000. I know they were creeping up on it earlier, so I'm looking forward to more details on that one. There's a doorbell ringing somewhere. Brookfield Wheel Days is September the 29th at the Madison County Fairgrounds in Brookfield, New York. That is the annual fall cleanup event. You don't want to miss it. Typically 150-plus entries. Full-size and large 6-cylinders go together. There's an Imperials-only heat. Full-size trucks. Vans and SUVs, they run together. There's a compact division for small 6s and 4-cylinders. And then those all go into their own feature. And then all the large 6s, full-size, and the Imperials go into their own feature. The full-size trucks and the vans and SUVs, that's 2 separate features unto themselves. They have a rollover contest at the end of the night. It's an awesome event, front to back. Online, you can find more, facebook.com/King Smash 'em Crash 'em. Also online, the Madison County Fair webpage, directly MadisonCountyFairNY.com. We talked about Chaos in the Valley, and our last order of business on this special Thursday, Blizzard Bash. Blizzard Bash 2018 at the Kansas Expo Center in Topeka, Kansas. November the 7th is heat draws. It's the pit party, 7 to 10 o'clock. November the 8th is the 4 o'clock start time. November the 8th is the national bracket and the qualifying team bracket opening round of action. It starts at 4 o'clock. November the 9th at 5 o'clock is the team draws, the heat draws for the compact and limited weld teams. At 6 o'clock that same night, national and qualifying team second rounds. November the 10th is a twin bill, 10 o'clock start, compact and limited weld opening rounds for those teams, and then all the Team B features, the trucks, and limited weld one and dones are at 6 o'clock. November the 11th at 1, Bone Stock, 80s Mod, and all the Team A mains for Championship Sunday, online blizzardbash.com. Excited to see that one coming up quickly. We're going to have Candace Joe on the air coming up on Monday, when we're back on our regular Monday night. We're going to be talking with Candace about the finale for Domination Motorsports. We're going to be talking about Blizzard Bash, tons of stuff to get to there. But we did want to make sure that we got one in and talked a little bit of the preface for the Shenandoah County Fair in Woodstock, which Jason and Penny are overseeing this year. And as they get ready, this is the trial run to get ready for October 20th, Chaos in the Valley, number 9. I can't believe there are 9 of them in 5 years. It's pretty impressive. I'm proud of them. They've come a long way. I think that is going to do it for us here in the studio. Flying solo tonight. I'm probably going to be solo on Monday as well. We're getting ready to leave Friday morning. Tomorrow morning we're taking off to Virginia for a couple days to do an event down with Ed Brewster at JMW Motorsports Park near Southside Speedway in North Chesterfield, Virginia. And then we're going to turn around and hustle back home for some birthday activities on Sunday. And then we're going to be with you guys on Monday as we get ready for the start of school. For all those kids that are listening at home, I heard the collective groan. I understand. Leave us a comment if you disagree with that idea forthcoming. But looking at things, I think that's going to do it. I appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll see you again on Monday when we talk to Candace Joe about the finale for Domination Motorsports and Blizzard Bash. We'll see everybody then.
Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.